People will be rolling in here in a minute. So, hello everybody. Yeah, they're popping in here now. Hello everybody. We got a awesome guest for you today. I got Alice Ford here. Hello, Artis. Hello, Uncle Lisa. Hello, Thrifty Angela. Our Epic RV Adventure. Hello, Uncle Lisa. Hey guys, and Turbo Duo is here. And thank you, Daydream, for the raid. So, Alice Ford here. I gotta say, I came across her videos, and they are, you could really, especially, and we were talking a little bit before, the first ones that you put out were, you could take those and put those on the Travel Channel. I mean, the way you did the shots and the research you did and everything else in your videos, like really blew me away. And so I asked you before, and you can let people know here, and definitely go check out her channel. They'll be running her links in the chat, but you edited them all yourself. So I was really impressed with that. Like, did you have any editing experience before you started YouTube?
Actually, no. And I'll just say hi to everyone. Yeah, my name is Alice Ford. I have a YouTube channel called ALICESADVENTURES. I make videos on like hiking, national parks, travel destinations all around the world, and really like off the beaten path places. This is my 7th year on YouTube. And when I started, yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I had this dream from really like, I guess when I was little, high school, watching Samantha Brown, that I really wanted to be on Travel Channel and have my own show. And I didn't know how to do that. And, I ended up creating this first travel pilot basically on national parks. Our World Heritage Sites was the first one. And I had no idea what I was doing. My boyfriend at the time, still my boyfriend now, but he was like, if this is what you want to do, like, go out and make it, because no one's going to pay attention to you if you have no experience and, you're not going out and traveling and making videos. And so he helped me make my first ever video. And that was Australia, which is, if you look on my channel, it's like the oldest video, World Heritage Adventures Australia. But
is that where you went on the Great Barrier Reef?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was an awesome one.
Yeah, so that was like my first video that ever got on YouTube. And from there, I just made this mission to, okay, I'm going to keep making these. I'm going to make national park videos. And now it's evolved into this thing where I do a lot more videos. But yeah, in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. And I've really learned how to edit and shoot and, sound edit and color correct and all that stuff over the years, just like experimenting and watching a lot of YouTube videos of like people doing tutorials on Premiere Pro and After Effects and all that kind of stuff. So it's been an education as well as a ton of fun, like getting to make all these videos.
Yeah, do you have a lot on the World Heritage Sites? And one that was like really pretty was when you went to Banff and you had that I think it was it Lake Louise, right?
Lake Louise, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really pretty one that you went to there. Like, and the other one, when you went, you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. It took you a week to do there. Like, what's been one of your favorite ones to like shoot and go to out of all of ones so far?
Yeah, so I've been to a lot of amazing places. I think my best trip ever was actually 2 years ago when I went to Africa and climbed Kilimanjaro, but also I got to go into the Serengeti and like see lions and wildebeest and zebra and just like all this. I mean, it's mind-blowing the amount of animals that you get to see when you're on a safari. And like growing up in the US, like if you see like, like a couple of deer, you're like, oh my gosh. There it's like animals for like as far as you can see, just like you can't even tell they're animals anymore because there's so many like zebra or so many wildebeest. So that trip was amazing. And then other than that, my second favorite trip, I think, was to Norway. I actually went twice last year in winter and summer, and they were both equally just mind-blowing in different ways. When I went in the winter, I actually got to go herd reindeer with a local indigenous family, and we were there like right as basically Arctic night turned back into a little bit of daylight. So if you remember the cartoon Fantasia, like there was like, it's like the sky turned into cotton candy when you have this like 4-hour long, basically sunset and sunrise mixed together, because the sun is just starting to come back, but it's been 24 hours of darkness until then. So that was like amazing, seeing reindeer running like basically through cotton candy in the snow.
that would be, I mean, that's probably like certain images like that get stuck in your head like your whole life. Like you'll be in your 80s somewhere and just be able to think back on the time you watched the cotton candy with the reindeers.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I went back in the summer last year and actually got to see the midnight sun. So like the total opposite, where it's 24 hours of daylight. And I went like hiking in some of the fjords and some of the like islands off the coast. And just, I mean, the landscape there is just incredible. So that was probably one of my favorites also. Yeah,
that was some of the shots that you had in the Norway ones were just, it's amazing. Like, how those fjords go back and stuff like that, and just the beauty of it there. It's kind of stunning. Reminds me around here because I'm in Washington State, so a lot of the forest and stuff like that, how it's all laid out, reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah, Washington State certainly is pretty in the Olympics, and you have some beautiful mountain ranges there.
What has there been any like family or any person that you've met on your travels that like just made you laugh a bunch or just really touched your heart when you met them?
I would say that the family that I got to stay with in Norway in the winter, his name is Niels Sara, and his whole family, we stayed with them. There was a couple of American women that we were basically staying at his cabin with. And he was hilarious. I mean, he was just like such a jolly, like happy-go-lucky person and just really made us laugh. I mean, it was sub-zero temperatures, and I was complaining that my feet were cold, and he took grass from like, I guess, the summer and like made boots for me so that I could go out in the cold and I wouldn't have like cold feet. I mean, he was just like the kindest, gentlest, funniest person, and his family was so nice. His wife was great, and they set us up with everything that we would need. And I think I was really the only woman there that like knew how to really take care of myself. So like I would help him like chop wood with a chainsaw and like do all that kind of stuff, and like had to start the generator in the morning. But like, yeah, he was just great. I mean, I love those experiences where you're really touched by like the local people, and you get to have like not just like an experience of seeing a new place, but like experiencing the people that live there. And like, we are all connected as people in this world. And I think sometimes when we go to like other destinations, we kind of see the people also as like tourist attractions. But like, I think when you get to have those like more intimate experiences with actually meeting people, it's a lot more powerful.
Yeah, it's a common human experience. Like most people, like everybody wants to love their children, everybody wants to laugh, everybody wants to, have food to eat. And you're right, you go to certain places and it's like, oh, well, look what they do or whatever. And instead of getting to know the people, like, how you get to know them and all that stuff. And when you guys were up there climbing Kilimanjaro, it was kind of cool. You guys were there with the guides and they were all singing and stuff like that. And then when you went and it was really interesting when you went and visited and that one, when you went to Australia, the Aborigine people, and you were learning how to use the didgeridoo and watching you learn how to use that. It took you a little bit to get used to it though.
Oh my gosh, it was so terrible. But yeah, it's like those experiences where instead of just like walking by and like being like, oh, okay, they play the didgeridoo, like put yourself into that like experience, make it an actual experience instead of just like seeing it and letting you pass you by. Because yeah, that was like such a funny moment for me, trying to learn how to play that thing. I was so bad, and then later that night I got to like learn how to do the fire the way that they do it traditionally, which was really cool. But yeah, like those are the experiences that like I'll remember more than anything else, just because you have that like human and social interaction.
So basically if your boyfriend would have never said, why don't you just go and do it yourself, you might just still be sitting there on your couch watching it and being like, I want to do that one day.
Yeah, who knows? Exactly. I mean, I'm so glad that he pushed me to go and do that. And he's like such a thoughtful person. I mean, when we first started dating, I told him like, I have this dream. And he actually like took I had like a pilot that I had written on a piece of paper, and he knew how to edit. So he went and found clips from the internet and like basically made me a little teaser of like what the show could look like from what I had written down. And it was amazing. And that was like, okay, see what you could have. So now go do it. So yeah, I needed that like push in the right direction.
Well, if he had experience editing too, he's like, you have the vision to be able to do it. Look, I'll show you without even having your own clips. You have the vision. And so I always find it interesting how many, especially like talking to you or talking to other business people I've talked to, it's just one person saying something or doing something that can set you off the rest of your life in a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's so many of us that have a dream or a passion or something that we want to do, but we don't necessarily know how to go do it. And obviously, like, it's much easier nowadays with the internet. You know, I think 7-10 years ago when I was really like wanting to start something, I don't know that there was as much information out there as to like how you could start a TV show or like something like this. So I was trying to do it through the correct channels of like calling my agent, or, you know, if I knew a friend that worked, you know, with someone that may know someone that works at National Geographic or something like that. And I also didn't live in Los Angeles at the time. So just like a lot of things that I think were things that I didn't know how to get past. So I think it's a lot easier today, but yeah, it is. I think everyone needs a little bit of encouragement to sometimes get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't have been doing this. I got encouragement from people here in this community, you know, I keep going and doing interviews and all that stuff. And how did you guys, like, when you first started doing it, like, because we talked before that you weren't as consistent before. Probably a lot of it had to do with also the finances of being able to travel to the places as well. So how did you guys prioritize? Like, was it after the first one that you said, man, I want to prioritize putting more into the YouTube channel, or was it before then that you decided that?
Yeah. So after the first one, I'm trying to remember the timeline here. So I actually work as a stunt woman, for those of you that may not know that.
Wow, I didn't know that either. So that's cool.
So that's my normal day job. And that's what really affords me to be able to travel. But it also hinders me because I don't usually have very much time, especially if I'm working on a movie. And for the last couple of years, it's kind of been steadily doing that. So it was always kind of like, if I had some free time and happened to be somewhere cool, I would try to make a video. But definitely after that first video in Australia, I really wanted to make more World Heritage adventure videos. And I actually pitched to a couple of different studios as well about trying to get something made on TV. So during that process, I thought, okay, well, what's another show that I could make a pilot of or something like that? And so I kind of turned to national parks because I knew I'd be more in America. You know, it's a bit easier. Sure. And then made a couple of those, and then kind of decided that I wanted to make at least like one of those a year, which I know isn't a lot for YouTube, but that's not really what I was thinking about at the time. And I think it was really like 2 or 3 years ago that I decided I really want to grow my YouTube. I want to start making videos more catered to that and like get more consistent, grow my subscribers, and things like that on YouTube. So now a lot of my videos are a little bit shorter and more catered to YouTube, and content is more broad too. I'm not just doing national parks. I'm going hiking. I'm, you know, traveling around here and there and wherever. So right.
You're going lots of places, and I'm sure. So who do you usually do stunts for? Because I know they usually try to match the in your case, the actress or whatever, or actor to the size or whatever. So who are some people that you've done like stunts for?
Well, you're not going to know many of them. Yeah, so stunts, yeah, you're either like doubling someone or you're basically like a nondescript. You could be like a person in a crowd or something like that. So I doubled the lead on Transformers 4, who was Mark Wahlberg's daughter. Her name's Nicola Peltz. I haven't done anyone that I'm like consistently only that person. So just like a lot of, if you see 5'5" blonde women on TV, it might be me.
So if you're flipping around and there's some woman and getting in a fight or whatever, falling or whatever, it might be you then.
Yeah. And I do a lot of the like behind the scenes stunts too. So I actually work as a stunt rigger, which is basically like I help put together the contraptions that like fly people across the room or make people blow up or things like that. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun, and I get to like work on runs of movies, which is awesome. Before quarantine, I was working on a movie called Red Notice, which is with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. So at some point, we're going back to finish that movie.
So have it's probably helped then, at least because if that was your first video, it's probably helped you be on camera easier to go into that role since you're already been doing it. You're comfortable in front of the camera to be able to do stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. And even in college, I will say, like, I always wanted to be a host. So in college and like maybe even in high school, I started like, I mean, I grew up in New Hampshire, so there's not like TV there. And then I went to college in Arizona. There's not really that much TV there. But like anytime there would be jobs where I could be a reporter or host a real estate video or something like that, I would do that. So I did already have some experience in front of the camera. Stunts definitely helps, but you're not talking. So it is different to get used to talking on camera. And I think the thing with hosting is like, or, you know, on YouTube, is that you don't always have a script. So there might be a moment where you're like at this beautiful waterfall and then you're like, oh my God, what am I supposed to say right now? Yeah, guys, this is really pretty. And then you're like, oh my God, is that stupid? So yeah, it is there's a lot of going on in your mind. I think about like, what should I say? Is this what I should say? So there is definitely like a learning period with that too, of being able to get comfortable in front of the camera. But I've been doing it for so long now that it's pretty easy for me now. I actually offer coaching now for people too, that are trying to get started on YouTube and like want to get more comfortable in front of the camera. But it's definitely a learning curve. And I definitely still have moments where I won't have a script, and I do try to do scripting for most of my videos, but I'll like be like, hey guys, we're at this and it's great. And then I'll be like, and then okay, thank you. What was I going to say there? So I think we all have that, but it is hard sometimes to figure out what you're going to say and how you want to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had somebody, they want to know if Wickershire Project wants to know if you know John Salvetti.
I do not.
Okay. Neither do I. So that makes two of us. You also have been doing interviews on your channel, and a lot of it has been with other female travelers, which I think is really cool because I have sisters myself and nieces myself, and I like to find, you know, strong women for them to be able to watch or whatever, so that they can think that they can do anything. Like they don't have to be, you know, oh, I'm a girl, so I can't do this or whatever. You know, like my baby sister played football 4 years in high school because none of us ever told her that she can't, you know, she can't do that. So, is that something that you like to do? Is to have women on there and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the idea with these interviews is I've been wanting for several years to create a podcast called Fierce, which it would basically be interviews with women that are kind of breaking barriers, changing the game in adventure travel, athletics, even like science and things like that. So these interviews that I've started are kind of the beginning of that, getting there. And I think as a mainly solo female kind of like adventurer, when I go out on hikes or travel, or like I just did a solo backpacking, I rarely ever see other women that are alone. And even like I hiked Long's Peak here. I'm in Colorado right now, just on Thursday, and no other women were alone. I only saw a handful of other women, and they were usually with like groups of men. So I think it's really important for me to show everyone, but also like especially women and young girls, that like the outdoors is not like a scary place that we should be afraid of. Like we can all go out and adventure. You don't need a man to like show you how to survive or feel comfortable. It is sometimes scary to be out there, but I think that like education, which is why I'm on YouTube, is to like teach people things, is all you need to be able to be safe and feel comfortable and like have a fantastic time and you know, love yourself and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really do want to like inspire other women and inspire other people to just get outside and explore.
Well, the thing about being scared is, even as a guy, if I'm out there by myself, you get scared, because I might be a guy, but if a bear wants to get me, a bear's gonna get me. So, you know, it being scared, I think, is just part of being out there. You know, you just got to be cautious, because it's not necessarily people you got to worry about being out there. It's, you know, nature itself when you're outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also that most like television and most just TV in general, like when it comes to the outdoors, is depicted by really strong, like burly men that aren't afraid of anything, and they could probably fight a bear with their bare hands if they wanted to. So, and even like when I've tried to pitch shows to Travel Channel or other networks, it's like, oh, we love your idea, but we want a big burly man with a mustache and a beard, and you know, people aren't going to listen to you, because, which is ridiculous, but I think that it gives this connotation that like, if you're not that, you can't go out into the outdoors, because how could you possibly like protect yourself if you're not like a really big, strong man? And it's just not true. Like, yes, you have to be like cautious and like make sure that you're always prepared. Like, I think in all my videos where I'm hiking or camping, I'm like, okay, guys, I have like 17 more things than I need, just because like I'm always over prepared. I'm like, I'm going on a day hike and I have a saw and a light. You know, like, none of these things you would probably ever need, but like, God forbid you get into some sort of like, I shouldn't be alive TV show moment. And all of a sudden you're stranded somewhere and you don't have enough water, or like you need to cut down a tree or something like that for firewood.
Yeah, just because you watch enough of those shows, you're like, man, he had like a piece of thread and that's what kept him alive, or something like that. You watch those and you're like, just in case.
Totally.
In case.
Even on the hike I did the other day, like I ran out of water like 3 times, but luckily I brought like my little water filter and some electrolyte tablets, and I just like filled up a stream twice, and then I also filled my water bottle with snow twice and waited for it to melt. You know?
Yeah. And has there been a time where you've been out there and it was really iffy, like you thought you might not make it back, like you got injured out there or anything like that?
I've never been injured. Definitely like had a couple, like I got lost once. With my friend's dog, actually. And like we weren't in a dangerous situation. We hiked a mountain and then came down. I missed where the trail was supposed to go down, and basically kept going on this fire road, thinking that the fire road went down the mountain, when it in fact like went like around like several mountain ranges and then like down somewhere else. So luckily I have like a pretty decent sense of direction. I knew where my car was. I kept seeing that I was getting farther away from it. So I made a decision at some point to just basically turn down the mountain and hope that I would end up somewhere you know,
near where you left the car.
nearby. I hope I could get there. I actually ended up basically like in some community. I was 6 miles from where my car was.
Wow.
But I was able to call an Uber, and me and my friend's large dog, after 2 Ubers canceled, got in an Uber and were able to Uber back to my car. That was in California, so obviously not like way out in the wilderness, but
yeah. If you can catch an Uber after you come back down the mountain, you're not too far out.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I've had any other scary moments. I guess not really. I mean, I've run out of water like once or twice, but I'm usually like so overly prepared that even if something happened, I think I'd probably be fine. I also like always have a map, always have a compass. Usually I'm in a place where I can like, I mean, I'm not going to lose the trail really. I'm not like a person that is probably going to get lost. And I also like very much listen to my intuition the night before. If I feel like I have bad hike or something, I won't go.
Yeah. That's I think the biggest thing you should learn to listen to is your gut, because that can keep you out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I live in California most of the time. We do have mountain lions. We have rattlesnakes. And like one time I was going to do this hike, which is basically like a 15-mile hike to a hot spring. And most people do it as an overnight. I was going to try and do it in a day. But the night before, I had like a dream of basically being hunted by a mountain lion. So in the middle of the night, I woke up and I rolled over and I go to my boyfriend, like, I'm not doing that hike. I'm going somewhere else in the morning. And he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, okay. So I ended up going like to the opposite like part of like, you know, instead of driving north, I drove like southwest and went to like the Anza Desert or something, like just total opposite, and had a great day. But I was like, can't do that hike. I just like had feelings about it. So when I didn't go, I went somewhere else. But I think it's important to listen to that, because I don't know, you never know if you're right or not. And I don't want to get eaten by a mountain lion alone.
Yep. That's true. At least he didn't get woken up and you had a dream about him cheating on you or something like that, and you were angry about that. It was just a mountain lion eating you. So you gotta take the good with the bad on that one. Wicked Shark Project wants to know if you took lessons in packing light, or was it a slow learning experience? In
packing light?
Yeah.
Let me think about that. No, I've never taken like, I mean, yeah, I guess every hike is a lesson, I guess, in what you need to bring. I think for me, I don't really ever pack light, just because I always have so much camera gear with me. So that always makes my pack heavy. And then I have like essentials that I always bring. Like I always have my Camelback with like 2 to 3 liters of water, regardless of kind of what hike I'm going on. Definitely, I just did my first like solo backpacking experience, and it was extremely difficult to carry a tent, a sleeping bag, cameras, what I would need for an overnight, like enough water, hot coffee, because I needed that, obviously. So yeah, I think every trip is probably like a little bit of a learning experience with what I need, but I'm definitely not a light packer for hiking. I will say, like, when I go out and travel, my process, I guess, for trying to pack as light as possible is basically like I write out the days and where I'm going on like a piece of paper or whatever. And then I figure out also like what I'm shooting ahead of time. If I'm like, I think I did this solo trip in Portugal a couple years ago, and it was like 11 days. And I was like, all right, so day 1 of my video is going to be these locations. So I really only needed like 4 or 5 outfits, which made it easier. And I picked those out ahead of time and then pack those. I like roll everything. I put it in packing cubes. But yeah, if I don't do that, I'll end up packing way too much. And then I also hate like having to decide what to wear in the morning. I need to like already know, like, okay, that's the outfit. That's easier.
Yeah.
So if I just plan it out ahead of time, it makes it a bit easier for me. And I think for hiking too, like this last trip I did, I was like, all right, I'm going to wear this like sun hoodie, shorts, and bring a pair of pants, and then same shirt the next day, wash it stream if you have to, whatever. So yeah, I try to just plan it ahead of time, and then that way I don't overpack. This is kind of my process.
Well, you probably have to use the same outfit too for shooting wise too, just for consistency. Probably helps.
Exactly. Yeah. If I bring too many things, and all of a sudden in like every 15 seconds of my video, I'd be wearing a different outfit.
So I guess you have some shots that you planned out, but there are some shots that you've come across while you've been doing something that you just had to add into your video.
Yeah, absolutely. So every video is a little bit different. Like my hiking videos are almost not planned at all, but my bigger videos like National Park Adventures, World Heritage Adventures, like when I go to these bigger destinations like Norway or Kilimanjaro, I plan those out a little bit more, where I know like I'm going to shoot an opening and I probably have a location for that and a closeout and things like that. And some of the stuff in between is a little bit more loose. But yeah, sometimes I'll drive by a place and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. I want to shoot that. And I'll maybe come up with something in my head to say like really quickly. So there's a little bit of both, of like planning and unplanned. And especially when I'm like doing a hiking video, because I'm alone and just like walking and listening to nature, there's so many times like you're just obviously hiking and thinking. So I'll be like, oh, that's a cool thought. And I'll just like get out my camera and be like, hey guys, like, did you know blah, blah, blah? Or like, I was thinking about this. Like, have you guys ever thought about that? So there's definitely a lot of those moments where I either see something amazing or have like just this thought that I want to share that I'll just jump on and it'll be totally unplanned.
Oh man. Yeah. I like to plan a little bit, but that's a good idea. Just to, when you have an idea or whatever, just to film that part. Because even if you don't use it, it's no big loss. But you might come up with something that you could really use.
Yeah, and a lot of times you can use like, even if you, because sometimes I can be really long-winded in a thought, but a lot of the times, even if you are saying something random, like you can use bits and pieces of it. Like in a hiking video I put out just a couple weeks ago, I was talking about like a dream I had, because I had a dream that night before too on that hike about like rattlesnakes. But basically I like cut it up and it became like, do you guys ever have like bad dreams before a hike, and how do you deal with that? And people, it really resonated with people, I think, when you get to have those kind of like off the cuff, like actual conversational pieces in a video instead of just facts or, you know, more planned out stuff. So I try to do a little bit of both, because I like people to have something that's educational in the videos always. But I think people also, especially on YouTube, want to see your personality and they want to get to know you a little bit also.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell people. Like, even if you're going to do how-to videos or like review videos, try to start including a little bit of yourself in there, so that they want to come back and see you. Otherwise, it's okay, I just watched that video, or like you, okay, I watched her go to this place. But I'm sure since you started out in that, you've had people that come back and watch your videos just to see you and what you're up to now. Yeah,
absolutely. Definitely. And I think that's also been like an education, is like the whole process of the last couple of years on YouTube. Is when I first started, it was very much like, I'm going to be host. I'm going to tell you about this place. I'm going to tell you about how this was formed and, you know, what this is over here. And now I'm really like doing that, but also telling people a little bit more about myself and encouraging them to come and get to know me and be part of my community on YouTube. So,
yeah. And when you're doing those interviews and stuff like that, that lets your personality come out a little bit more too. And so it's kind of cool to see that. Who so far has been like somebody that surprised you, or has been a fun interview to do with somebody?
I really enjoyed talking with Kinga Phillips. And if you guys don't know who she is, she's actually a host that has had a few shows on the Travel Channel. She lives not too far from me in Los Angeles. And her boyfriend is actually a stunt coordinator who has hired me before. So there's like a couple of different, 6 degrees of separation there. But she's really cool. I mean, she grew up with an immigrant parents and came to the United States and really just, has had such a successful life, but grew up backpacking and hiking with her parents, very similar to me, and has been all around the world. She's a journalist as well. And yeah, I just really enjoyed interviewing her. I mean, she's really down to earth. She loves nature and swimming with sharks. And I think we're kind of kindred spirits. So that was a really fun interview for me to have.
Yeah. It's exciting especially when you start talking to somebody and you're like, oh man, I got this in common with them. Oh, that's cool. And then, sometimes you end up making friends off of the people that you talk to too. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah. And it's always really fun for me to like hear other people's stories about either what led them to travel or like what led them to have a YouTube channel or like a podcast or a website, whatever it is. Because I've interviewed a couple different people that have kind of all those, but what leads people to fall in love with the outdoors. So
I haven't had the experience yet, but have you had the experience where somebody's like recognized you from YouTube? Like some of your videos and came up and said hi?
I don't think so. One day.
Oh man. You would think, I would hope one of these days some of those hikers might recognize you since they're out there all the time. You'd think they'd watch one of your videos just by happenstance and been like, oh, I was going to go climb there. Thanks for putting that video out or something.
I think I get a lot of people that think they recognize me, but then I'm not sure that they do.
Well, they also might recognize you from some of the stunt stuff you done too. Like, I think I saw you in a commercial or something sometime.
Yeah.
Have you ever had speaking gigs off of the stunt work?
Not that many. They're like few and far between. I've had like a couple in some like non-name movies. My first ever movie was Shriek of the Sasquatch. So
wow, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that one. Where can I find that one? Because that one sounds like it's a good campy horror film.
I don't know, maybe on Amazon. It's really old.
Yeah, Shriek of the Sasquatch. That one's interesting, especially since they have the Sasquatch Festival up here where they play have a bunch of bands play and stuff. That's what they call it up here at the Gorge.
Oh yeah.
Yep. When has there been somebody that's been like a commenter or viewer of yours that like they're almost every video they're there commenting or anything like that?
Yeah, I actually have probably would have to look on my YouTube. Feel bad I don't know their names right now. Yeah, I have about 10 people that like comment on every video. And then I actually have one gentleman who his son, who's like 4, I think, loves my videos. And so he basically writes me a comment on, or has his dad write a comment on everyone. But it's so sweet. And I just love that, people subscribe and are part of the community. I get to like talk to them almost every week. There's one old man hiker. I know him because he connects with me on Instagram too, but he always comments on every video and is like, oh, that's a great place. And, you start feeling like you really know these people because like he was saying yesterday that he was going to go hike some glacier in a couple weeks and other people do the same. They're like, oh my gosh, I loved your video. I'm going to do this hike. And so you get to actually like engage with people and feel like you're kind of in a community with them. And I love it. Mm-hmm.
Well, and then basically, off of you starting that channel, look at how many people that you inspired to go do a hike that they might have never known about or might have never done.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest rewards, I think, with YouTube is getting to read people's comments that have watched one of my videos and said, oh my gosh, I went to Smoky Mountains and I followed your itinerary and I did all the hikes you did and I had such a great time. Or I didn't know about this and, you showed it to me and we loved it, or our whole family went. And yeah, it's those moments where where you know that you've actually inspired someone to try something new or get out and see something beautiful, that are really, really awesome.
It makes me, when I have something like that happen too, just fires me up to do more videos, have more, have more content, and do more stuff like that, because it's a whole different world than just working a 9 to 5. When you're putting a video out there and it affects somebody's life, whether good or bad. It's kind of interesting to have happen. And Simple Life Reclaim wants to know, if you could only hike one mountain for the rest of your life, what one would it be?
Oh my gosh, only one? I don't know. Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question. I mean, I guess I would have to choose Mount Baldy, just because it's near Los Angeles and it's accessible. So if I could only hike one forever, I would probably pick the one, like, it's not too far from my house, so I could actually keep hiking.
And you said you're in Colorado right now, so you're out there filming stuff. Are you doing like Estes Park up there in the Rockies and stuff like that?
Yeah, so on Thursday, I went to Rocky Mountain National Park. I hiked Long's Peak, which is a 14,000 footer. It's probably one of the most like infamous Colorado 14ers. It was really hard. And like really actually kind of terrifying. It's very, very steep. You're basically rock climbing the last like 1,500 feet, which is really crazy. But before then, yeah, I've done a couple other peaks: Teocalli, Whetstone, Crested Butte. So yeah, there's going to be a couple Colorado videos coming out. I'm editing the first one right now, so it should be out this coming Sunday, I should say.
Yeah, because you said you're trying to do every other week now, because you started out not as consistent, but we were talking before, like the amount of stuff that you put into your videos, you can't really fire them off that much just because of the amount of time that it takes just to film, let alone, edit and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, it takes me a whole day to film because I'm out on some sort of adventure. So 8 hours doing that. And it does take me about a day usually to edit, but I don't always have a ton of time. So I think like 2 years ago, I was somehow made a video every week. I don't even know how I did that. But even during quarantine, I'm having trouble sticking to one a week. So yeah, every other week is kind of what I'm trying to stick to. And even when I go back to work, which might be in like a month, I'm going to try and stick to that schedule and keep pumping videos out. So
yeah, that'll be awesome, because yours are very entertaining to watch.
Thank you.
And Simple Life Reclaim wants to know if you've hiked every state in the U.S., and if not, what states do you still need to get to?
Okay. I haven't hiked every state. I need to go to Alaska, which actually was planned for this year. So hopefully next year.
Kind of threw a wrench in the plans for this year, didn't it?
Yeah, I did. The Dakotas, I haven't hiked. Been to Idaho, haven't hiked there, however. Where else? Let's see. Like, I've been to almost every state. I haven't hiked in almost every state. So there is like a lot of the Midwest that I haven't hiked, like Arkansas, Oklahoma. I'm not sure if there's hiking there. Texas, Missouri. Where else?
A lot of the states in the middle that aren't necessarily known for mountains, basically.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of those middle states. But I would say the next kind of like bucket list states where I want to hike are definitely Alaska. I do want to go to the Dakotas because I want to hike in the Black Hills at some point. I don't know when that would be. I want to go back to Montana. I have been there and I have hiked there, but it's a place I want to go back and hike more of. Also Wyoming. And where else is like high on my list of places to go? That's probably it, I think, as far as like bucket list US destinations. I really want to hike Denali, so I'm hoping that I'll have time to do that next summer. And then I want to hike in Washington and Oregon more as well.
Yeah, how many of the ones in Washington and Oregon have you done? Because there's a lot of the volcano peaks here. You got, besides Mount Rainier, which is, and Mount Hood, which are the two probably most ones people know about. There's tons of other mountains. So
yeah, and I honestly haven't done either of those. I would love to do both of those. I never get to get up in that area very often. The only hiking I've really done has been like around Seattle and around Wenatchee, because that's where my family lives.
Oh, out in Wenatchee. Yeah, I've been out there. I've been out there quite a few times, so I know about it out there. That's really pretty when you come in off of, if you come in off of 90 and then you go over the Blue Pass right there,
Yeah.
going down into the valley there. That's a really pretty drive.
Yeah, it is a really pretty drive. Yeah, so I'd
Yeah.
love to hike in Washington and Oregon more as well. I'd love to do Mount Rainier and Mount Hood. And I think Mount Rainier would be a good stepping stone before Denali, just because it does have such like extreme weather, and it is a pretty difficult mountain during certain times of the year.
Yeah, yeah. And are there some, like, I guess, big mountains outside of the U.S.? Like, I don't know if you've done it, because I didn't see on your videos, but like Everest and that kind of stuff, for those ones that you want to do, like the big name ones.
I really want to do Aconcagua, which is in South America. I don't know if I want to do Everest. I think there is a lot of stuff that needs to change with how they manage Everest. I would love to go to Nepal. I was actually slated to go to Nepal this year also. So I'd love to do maybe Everest Base Camp, but I would rather do some of the other mountain routes in Nepal than probably those mountains, just because I think they're so over popularized and not managed very well with garbage and that kind of thing. I mean, I think if I were going to do Everest, they need to make it a World Heritage Site first, so that it's actually protected. And so that you actually are required to have guides that like pack in, pack out, and then there's some sort of requirements as far as even like mountaineering skills. I mean, you can't hike Denali in Alaska without taking like a course or proving that you have mountaineering skills and like know how to use like hike with an ice axe and like traverse on ropes and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty crazy that they're just basically allowing mass tourism to Everest. So that one's not really on my list right now. I definitely do want to do more of the 7 summits. However, there's another one, Karsten Pyramids, which is in Indonesia, that I really want to hike. Unfortunately, right now, it's not accessible because unless you charter a helicopter. So.
Well, I don't have that kind of money, so. They Evergreen Homestead wanted to know if you've been to the whole rainforest up here in the Olympics.
I have not. Yeah,
so
the Olympics are somewhere I really like to take some time to explore more of. I just haven't really had the time to do that. It hasn't been a priority, but it is someplace that I really do want to go and get some more time in and explore.
What's one thing as a traveling YouTuber that you experienced that you would give to me as advice, like still being able to do the channel on the road? Like what's something important to have with you?
Something important to have with you. Ooh. Definitely like backups of everything, extra batteries, extra SD cards, stuff like that, I think is really important. And also like a backup of a microphone. I've had several times when, I mean, almost every trip something breaks or I lose something. Like on Thursday, my cell phone fell off a mountain. So
please tell me you filmed it happening, because that would have been great.
I wish. So I was actually, I had like just taken some photos, and I like strapped my GoPro basically onto like the handle of my backpack, but my phone I put in like this pocket that goes right here on my backpack. And basically and then I like went back on the trail, and then it got really steep, and I basically had to like lean over and grab like rocks for like handheld. And when I did that, I leaned over really far and my phone fell out, and it was like over a ledge. So I just saw it go boop, 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 boop.
All in slow motion too, huh? As soon as it started falling out, you're like, no, and it just falls down.
the whole 9 yards. And then I tried to go look for it, but it was a lost cause. So basically I haven't had a phone since, Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, every trip, there's always something that goes wrong, whether it's like the cold gets your batteries or a microphone breaks or something. There's just always something. So I think it's always good to just never rely on only one thing. Like I have a GoPro, I have a Sony camera, I have a DJI Osmo Pocket, I have and then I have my phone usually. So I've got if something dies or breaks or falls off a cliff, I still am able to record and have good sound quality and things like that. So
Right.
I think it's always good to have a backup of everything, especially, and also a tripod, backup,
Right.
tripod, even if it's like a mini version or something like that.
And that probably also, I mean, just hearing that, gotta realize that you can't let it ruin your day if you lose something either. So probably having the backup, like, well, I lost that one or it broke, but at least I can still keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, luckily on this last trip, I hadn't shot that much stuff on my phone. So I did lose some footage of me in my tent and chatting with you guys, about leaving for the peak and stuff like that. And some photos that I would have really loved. But, it's better my phone than my life. And luckily I had my GoPro where I shot the majority of my footage. So I think it's always good to strap everything down.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a lot of RVers that are in our community. So that's something that can get forgetting too, is forgetting to strap stuff down before you start moving. And then all of a sudden there's stuff all over the floor of the RV. So
yeah. And sometimes it's hard because I think for me, especially when I'm hiking or out shooting a video, there's so many things to think about. And so sometimes you just forget. And that's exactly what happened on this hike. I just forgot to zip that pocket and then, oh, bye phone. But yeah, I've had other times. I mean, I was making a video once in California where I was out paddleboarding and I was trying out this new, basically suction cup mount tripod for my GoPro. Well, you know what? I went to go back to the dock. The thing hit the dock, sank. Bye, GoPro. So that, and then one time I was with my boyfriend, he was flying the drone from a kayak, also in the ocean. And the thing went to take off, it hit his foot and it went in the ocean. So it's just I mean, there's just always these things that happen with cameras and equipment where it's going to get lost or broken or damaged. I think you just have to be okay with that. And if you're not, definitely get insurance.
well, I look at all the stuff that I'm using because I worked on cars for so many years, and having the camera and the tripod, all that stuff, all those are to me is tools.
Yeah.
So if they get beat up, if it gets broke or whatever, it's a tool for the trade. And so I'm going to take care of it. But if it happens, that's part of doing this as a job.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's equipment. It's like anything else you would use for a job. And, also on this last trip, the screen of my GoPro cracked. Luckily I had a fake glass on it, but there's always something, I cracked my Apple Watch, it's you just have to be okay with, I guess, the wear and tear. And I would say personally, I am extremely hard on things. I've always been extremely hard on things. Even when I was a little kid, I went through sneakers every 3 months or something because I would drive down the driveway in a toy dump truck and use my shoes as brakes.
Brakes, so. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I wore out many a shoe trying to brake with my shoes. So
yeah, so I've just always been hard on stuff, and I wish I wasn't sometimes, but I don't know how to not be rugged, I guess.
Yeah, and well, I mean, that's just who you are. That's what makes you. I don't care. I'll go climb this mountain too. Is because you're like that. If you were really gentle with things, you might not be into going and climbing and hiking and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So, have you had any friends or family that's checked out your channel that at first you were embarrassed by and now you don't mind, or anything like that?
I don't know if I'm embarrassed by any of it. I definitely have like most of my extended family watches my videos, and like they'll share it with like my cousins and things like that. I actually think it's really cool. I think if I had like content I was embarrassed about, I don't know that I would put it out. But yeah, so I think it's awesome that my friends and family like my videos. So yeah, I think that makes you feel like your content is good, I think, when your friends and family start watching it.
Yeah, when my friends here where I'm at right now started watching my stuff, I was like, and then they'll mention like what I did in my video. Oh, hey, how's that going? And I'm like, how do you know? Oh, never mind. It's on YouTube. That's how you knew those things. Okay. But it's kind of cool because then no matter where you're at or what you're doing, like they can always keep up with you. And so when you go back to see them, you don't have to tell them the stories of all the stuff you did. They've already seen it, and you can kind of just catch up and talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it because it like helps you also stay more connected with people. I think even with technology and social media, we're like not as connected as we used to be, because we're not like calling each other as much as we are maybe, that we did 15 or 20 years ago. So I really love that people can keep up with me, even in my friends and family and extended family, and see like, oh, hey, I saw that you went to Africa, or I saw that you did this. And because I may not have talked to them on the phone or via email. So yeah, it's really a nice way to stay connected.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we're running short on time. What would you say to people like when you go talk to them, like how would you tell them about your channel, like to go check you out?
Well, honestly, I meet a lot of people hiking. And I usually just say, hey guys, I have a YouTube channel. I make videos on hiking, national parks, World Heritage Sites, off the beaten path adventures. If you want to check it out, it's Alice Ford Adventures, or you can just Google Alice Ford and you'll find my channel that way too. But if you love hiking in the outdoors and exploring, then you'll love my channel.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good sum up of what it is. And I really do appreciate you coming on and talking today and all that kind of stuff. And I always enjoy learning, because I learn from everybody that I talk to, and like Simple Life Reclaim, they were in here, they're taking notes on how you filmed and stuff like that, because it's, even if you don't do the exact same thing, it's always nice to learn somebody else's method so that maybe it can be easier for you or better for you, Yeah,
absolutely. I really love coming on too and talking with you. And I love that people are here to learn as well. I do offer coaching if anyone wants like some one-on-one stuff. You can.
Yeah, there you go, guys.
For that, ALICESADVENTURES.earth.com. There's some more information on there if you want to check that out. But yeah, I'm also just like, connect with me on social media if you ever have questions. I'm always like, I'm not one of those people that ignores messages. So I will get back to you if you write me and have questions.
Yeah, and I'm the same way, like there's some people that I've known that like they want to hide everything they do, or like, I know how to do this on YouTube, but I'm not going to tell anybody else, or whatever it is. And it's like, why? Why? I watch YouTube, so I want people to get better so that I have better stuff to watch. So I'm kind of selfish in that way when I do this, but I've never seen the whole reason in being selfish and not sharing with people.
I think a lot of people are like that, unfortunately, in every kind of career or job. I think it's especially common for women to do that because people are so competitive. They just feel like, oh, well, I don't want to give away my secret because then I'll have competition. But I also think that, like, if you're going to be successful, you have to think of the world in a place of abundance instead of a place of scarcity, and like think of every opportunity as not being just one opportunity, as there being like tons of opportunities. There are millions of opportunities out there for all of us. And that's how you have to think about things. Otherwise, you won't be successful because you'll just continue to think that like, oh, well, they got that, so now I can't.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a lesson that I like sharing with people too, is just like always think of everything as abundant instead of scared.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I'm going to leave it there. Go check out Van Life with Tina Payne. Go over there and rate her. Stay with me. I'll talk to you in just a second. But I will see you guys tomorrow. And remember to stop waiting for life to happen and make life happen. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
End it here.